Hello dear students. In previous class we were discussing about the short run costs. Under that we discussed total fixed cost. Total fixed cost means the cost expenses incurred on fixed factors, right? In TVC we discussed about the cost which incurred on variable factors. TC, it is the sum of TFC plus TVC, total fixed cost and total variable cost. So formulas also we discussed. To get off total fixed cost we should do like this, that is TC minus TVC, total cost minus total variable cost. Then to get off TVC, total variable cost, that is total cost minus total fixed cost. To get off TC, total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Okay, this is the formulas to calculate the TFC, TVC, TC, and also we discussed about the diagrams, right? So in that you have to understand, under the short run, the total fixed curve, TVC curve, TC, the total fixed no changes, but TVC and TC curve, TVC and TC curves both are positively sloped. TFC, total fixed cost, the cost incurred on fixed factors. Whatever changes in the output, either increase or decrease, or if it is zero, no changes in the factor. Okay, no changes in the cost. Then TVC, the cost will change along with the output. If output will be increase, cost also, like total variable cost also increase. If the output decrease, total variable cost also decrease. If the output is zero, total variable cost also zero. Then TC, that is sum of both TFC and TVC. Okay, up to this only we discussed. Now remaining cost, that is AFC, AVC, AC and MC. Okay, we will discuss later about the MC. Before that we have to discuss AFC, AVC and AC. Same as like as TFC, TVC and TC. Okay, first one is average fixed cost. Average fixed cost. So average fixed cost nothing but it is the cost per unit. It is the cost per unit fixed cost of production. Fixed cost of production. Fixed cost of production of a commodity. Simple. Average fixed cost, it is the cost per unit fixed cost of production of a commodity. Okay, it is the cost per unit fixed cost. It is the cost per unit fixed factor. We can say like that, fixed factor or fixed cost per unit fixed cost of production. Fixed cost of production or fixed factor of production. That means, so you have to understand here, to get off average fixed cost, there is a formula, that is TFC divided by number of units produced. That is TFC divided by Q. What for? To get the average fixed cost. See, average fixed cost means nothing but, for example, is the total output is 100. Otherwise, the total fixed cost is 20 and output is 10. Okay, the total fixed cost is 20, the output is 10. Then what is the value of AFC? What is the value of AFC? That is 2. That is 2. You can understand, that is 2. For example, 100 is the total fixed cost. Then 5 is the number of units produced. That time, what is that? 20. So that is 20. So this is the cost, expenses incurred on per unit fixed factor. Are you understanding? To produce 5 units, to produce 5 units, to produce of 5 units. Are you understanding? To produce of 5 units. Okay, the fixed cost is 100. Then each fixed factor, how much we are expensing? On each fixed factor, how much we are expensing? Are you understanding? To produce 5 units. Here you have to understand TFC is 100. Q is 5. Okay. Total fixed cost is 100 to produce 5 units of product. Output to produce 5 units, the fixed cost is 100. Then we have to calculate per unit of fixed factor how much we are expensing. There are a number of factors: land, labor, okay, like fixed factors, land, capital, like machineries. So these are all called as fixed factors. For each fixed factor, on each fixed factor, how much we are expensing? How much we are expensing? We means the producer how much he is expensing per each fixed factor. Per each fixed factor, how much he is expensing? That is only we can calculate. That is 20. 20 is investing each fixed factor. He is investing on each fixed factor. How much he is expensing? Rupees each. He is investing on each fixed factor. So is the fixed cost is 100. He is producing 5 units of output. Okay, 5 units. So to produce of these inputs like output, to produce of these output, to produce of 5 units of output, he is expensing rupees 20. Okay, rupees 20 on each factor. Each fixed factor. On each fixed factor. On each fixed factor. Fixed factor means those which are not changing, remains fixed only. They remains constant. They are called only fixed fact. Fixed cost or fixed factors. Here the expenses incurred on per unit of fixed factor. The expenses incurred on per unit of fixed factor, that is called only average fixed cost. In other words, we can say like that: average fixed cost is the per unit cost of fixed factor. Simple. Per unit cost of fixed factor. Simple. Answer is what is the average fixed cost? Per unit cost of fixed factor. Okay. It's clear. Answer is per unit cost of fixed factor. That means how much TFC, then Q. To produce of 5 units, the fixed factor is 100. But on each fixed factor, how much he has expensing? That is 20. So this is called as AFC, average fixed cost. Average, how much he has expensing on each fixed factor. To produce a commodity, average how much he has expensing on each fixed factor, that is called only average fixed factor cost. Average fixed cost. Okay, this is we can show with the help of diagram. That is just, this is only a rough sketch information about this. Okay, this is the ABC. Like C, So this is, we can say like that, average fixed, sorry, not AVC, AFC, average fixed cost. So you have to understand, average fixed cost is nothing but the per unit of cost incurred on fixed factor. Per unit cost of a fixed factor. How much expensing on fixed factor to produce a commodity. So that is only average fixed cost. Average fixed cost. The formula, that is AFC is equal to EFC divided by number of units, otherwise Q. Okay, so this is called as average fixed cost. Average fixed cost is nothing but per unit cost of fixed factor. How much expensing on each fixed factor to produce a commodity. Average, what is the average? How much expensing on each fixed factor to produce a commodity. That is called only average fixed cost. Next is average variable cost. It is also simple. See, per unit cost of variable factor. Okay, previous that was on fixed factor, so this is variable factor. How much we are expensing on each variable factor to produce a commodity? What is the average? What is the average? So that is, to identify that one, there is a formula. So that is average variable cost. So the formula is AVC equals TVC divided by Q. See, simple. The total variable cost is 100. The quantity is 5. This is the expenses on each variable factor. The cost incurred on each variable factor to produce a commodity. To produce a commodity, how much expenses incurred on each variable factor. Each variable factor. Okay, how much we are expensing. That is called only total variable cost. Simple, per unit cost of variable factor. Per unit cost of variable factor. Otherwise, the cost is the per unit variable cost of production of a commodity. Per unit variable cost of a production of a commodity. The formula is AVC, that is TVC by Q. So this is, it will come like this only. So actually it is a U shape. Which one? AVC should be like U shape only. Okay. This is the AVC. This is cost. Okay. So this is output. Simple. AFC is nothing but cost per unit of fixed factor. Cost per unit of fixed factor or per unit cost of fixed factor. AVC is per unit cost of variable factor. Per unit cost of variable factor. Simple. Okay. Then remaining is AC. That is called as short run average cost. Short run average cost. So AC, that is, as you know that it is the per unit total cost of production. It is the per unit cost of total production. It is the per unit cost of total production. Total production means it is also both how much we are expensing on fixed factor plus how much we are expensing in on variable factor in the total production. Total production. Okay, how much we are expensing on fixed factor and variable factor. So that is only called as average cost. To get of average cost, there is a formula, that is AFC plus AVC. Simple. Okay. To get of formula, like to get of AFC plus AVC. Other words, we can say like that: AC is equal to TC divided by 2. Total cost means how much we are expensing on fixed factor, how much we are expensing on variable factor. That is called only total cost. That is total production. So total cost, how much we are expensing in the total production on fixed factor and variable factor, that is called only average cost. Okay. So this is the AFC, AVC, AC. Simple. You have to listen carefully. AFC means average fixed cost. How much we are, like how much the producer as expensing on each fixed factor. That is the called as average fixed cost. Average variable cost, how much expense, the expenses incurred on each variable factor. The expenses incurred on each variable factor, that is called as average fixed cost. Sorry, average variable cost. Then what is the meaning of AC? Average cost is both, that is the per unit cost of total production. Per unit cost of total production. AFC, per unit cost of fixed factor, per unit cost of fixed factor. AVC, per unit cost of variable factor. AC, per unit cost of total production. Okay, AFC, AVC, AC. Okay, we will continue in next class. Thank you.